Hello everyone, and welcome back to another So I've Been Reading. I am the Rat, and this is The Rat's Nest. Today, we have a series that I covered last video, which I think I recorded yesterday. Because, man, I've been really excited to get back into it. And, man, I tell you, these chapters fly by. I read chapters 22 through 43 today because I meant to stop at 42, and I accidentally went one further because I just kind of autopiloted to it, realized halfway through, and was like, I'll read it. I think 42 might have been a better stopping point, but at least it motivated me to record this faster than I did the last one. Kaiju number 8, chapters 22 through 43. What? Oh, dude, we had some good stuff happening today, dude. we had some good stuff happening, let me tell you. All right, so let's get straight into it. I got my notes here. We're gonna get into it. We get to see. So this picks up after. It was Kafka versus Kaiju number 9. Yeah, it was them, and then he fought Hoshina. This picks up after that. So Reno and Iharu are in the hospital. You get to see Reno thank Kafka, and he's like, "If you hadn't saved us," and Iharu's like, "What?" You know, Kafka. Not Kafka. Iharu. I didn't really want him to become a more major character, and he didn't. So I'm kind of happy about that. I really like the direction the story is taken. But yeah, we'll get into that whenever it happens. So we get to see that he has a party for them, and it's done by the rich kid who is he's the son of the weapons manufacturer. It's just interesting. I think we get to see him one more time in this branch of chapters, and then we get to see him be officially promoted to officer. Mina promotes him, and she tells him that like it wasn't her. It was Hoshina, dude. Hoshina is the GOAT, right? I love Hoshina very much. He shined during this block of chapters. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in the future, maybe. And now we have a new cast. It's been very good to see him. And so he's officially an officer. And that's kind of freaking based. We then get to see Kafka. He's heading back. It's later at night. We get to see Hoshina practicing his swordsmanship. Specifically, he's running over his entire fight with Kaiju number 8. Kind of be like, next time I'll get him. You know, Kafka's like, uh-oh, because, you know, that's him. He's like, yo, I know that guy. He's me, dude. He's just like me for real. That's so true. And then we get to, this is the end of arc 2. You know, they're called episodes. I'm going to call them arcs because I don't care what the author has I don't care. You have to say guy. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I'm typically pretty bad about that. We get to see him be like, all right, you know, head off to bed. You know, they have a nice little moment there. It shows some mutual respect. But then, some kaiju start attacking the 3rd Division base. And that's not too Gucci gang of them. And we don't know who it is. Later, I think, there's a kaiju named Kaiju number 10. I believe it is him. I could be wrong at that. If I'm wrong about that, I will be very surprised. But I guess I could be wrong about that, sure. But yeah, so we get to see that. We get to see they're coming in, and then like dive bomb the base and stuff. And all these wyverns are big Honju class, right? They're bad news. They're about 6.5 or so on the Richter scale, which we see that it takes basically a captain or a vice captain to beat them at that point. There ain't going to be much else that can maybe, I think they said a squad of soldiers could, but a captain or vice captain can beat them on their own. And so, you know, they start fighting them and whatnot. And then Hoshina's like trying to give orders and such. And then we see Kaiju number 10 up here behind him. He's like, who's the strongest one here? He's like, oh, that'd be me right now. And so they start fighting. That was a cool fight, man. All the fights in this series just has good fights. They're all a ton of fun. Basically, we get to see Hoshina and this dude duke it out, and we get to see Hoshina kind of, you know, go all out, kind of like he said, like, I wish I had gone all out on Kaiju number 8 from the beginning, but he didn't. So he goes all out on this guy. He's kind of a little bit strong now, isn't he? It's fun to see. But the dude, he can move his core, and then he morphed from, I think they rated him as like an 8 point something. He was a Dai Kaiju. I think it was 8.2 if I remember correctly. He already ranked as a Dai Kaiju. but then he evolved or something and became a 9.0 kaiju. He also grew a lot, which isn't very good because Hoshina is specific. He's good against like humanoid or smaller kaiju. Against the giant kaiju, he just can't output the damage needed for it, and that's where Mina comes in. Literally, and like I mean, you know what I'm trying to say here. But yeah, so we get to see him, and it's a super fun fight. We get to see all his different swords and styles. We also get to see that everyone was like, "Hey, yo, using swords is pretty freaking dumb, don't you think?" Now that we have guns, so I can appreciate how that's addressed. How it's like, yeah, swords are still cool, but they're not practical. But one, this dude's a genius. Two, yeah, they're not practical against giant kaiju. You need other stuff for that, and that's where we get to see he's on his last ropes. You think, okay, cool, Kafka's gonna come save him. I thought him and Kafka were gonna fight it together. I was like, oh, that'd be so cool. And it's not. That's not what happens. Mina comes back, absolutely obliterates the thing. Well, she's having, this is level 9 now. It's kind of a little bit crazy. And so she needs a clean shot at its core. So Mina, Hoshina starts to attack its legs and gets help from a Kikuro. I'm just gonna call her Shinomiya. I was trying to not call her Shinomiya because later we get General Shinobi. I'll just call him General Shinomiya. She's Shinomiya. We get to see Shinomiya go after the legs, and she has her brand new axe, and it's nice and shiny, and she's really strong with it. She is the third most combat power person in the 3rd division. That's like kind of insane a little bit. But we get to see her and Hoshina work together to weaken it so that Mina can blow it up. And you're like, okay, cool. Kafka doesn't have to transform. They beat it. No problem. And then there's a bomb in the sky. Uh-oh. Yeah, big giant bomb in the sky. That's what it transforms into. And they're like, okay, cool. Well, we're going to die here. Right? They're not too happy about that. Then we get to see the moment I thought was going to happen earlier. We get to see Kafka run in, and they're like, what's this guy doing? And he's like, and he talks to Reno, and he's like, I'm sorry, Reno didn't want him to transform, but then he transforms, and the Kaiju number 8 punches the bomb into the atmosphere, where it explodes. Still damages buildings, but no one's killed. And then he's arrested, dude. Little thing about me, right? I don't know if you're watching this and you haven't seen my Arty for Data video, which is literally all of you. If for some reason you have, thank you for sticking around. I am a sucker for edgy stuff, right? I have that bone in my body. I always have. It's just a part of me, dude. The secret power reveal, like that trope, where it's like, yes, it's you, Kafka. You're Kaiju number 8. That trope, like whenever that happens, it's like, oh yeah. I was like, oh yeah. It's like, yeah, let's get it, dude. And it did not disappoint. Man, that was. I think I just wrote in my notes here. I've been going off script just because I read this like 2 hours ago. I write down notes because I didn't know when I was gonna record it. I wrote down, Amin is back. Kafka reveals himself, bro. That was badass. That's so true. Punched it into the atmosphere, but now he's being arrested. That's so true as well. Oh, dude, that was that was so cool. Oh man, that was so good. I was so happy that was like, okay, like yeah, like there it is, right? And this was a shorter battle. The Wyverns weren't too much of a threat. He identified the weakness early on, and they were all taking him out. Kaiju number 10 was the real threat, and then the bomb was the even bigger threat. But then he gets arrested, and we get to the Arc 4, which is the captured arc. We get to see him. He's arrested, and he's going to be transferred to headquarters, where the 1st Division is, and where the director, General Shinomiya is, where all that good stuff is. And we get to see him walking out to the truck. Mina's escorting him. And, everyone from the 3rd Division is around him, and they're, and then their eyes are showing. It's like, okay, he's like, yeah, these guys probably hate me now. He's like, sorry, Reno. And then he's about to get on, and then Reno says, I think he says, like, sir, I'll be waiting for you to come back, or I'm sure you'll come back, or something like that. And it's just like, man, especially knowing now that was probably Reno's send off for a little bit. It's like, oh man, I haven't spent much time with these two, but man, they're a good pair. They really are a good pair. He's sad to see him go, and then it closes, and Mina's like, yeah, I'm gonna have to give him 50 push-ups for speaking out of line. She's like, but no one in the 3rd Division views you as a threat. She said, we have testimony. She said, we'll testify. She said, we have video proof. She said, we will make sure you're not executed. She said, no one believes you're a threat. And that's like, man, 3rd Division's good. We haven't known them for long, but man, like, it's still good, it's all very good. All the reveal stuff was very good. And then he still wants to be my Mina's side. He's kind of like, can I still be like by your side? And can I still aim for a place by your side? And she's like, yeah, of course. I mean, to say I dislike that whole aspect, I don't know. I wish Mina had a little bit more character. Like, she seems kind of flat right now. Whenever Kafka's whole motivation is like, I want to stand beside her. Obviously we know that they spent their childhoods together, and it was like their whole promise they made to each other. I wish we knew a little bit more about her to okay, I get that he wants to, but does he just want to look cool? Does he just want to fulfill it? And that's Kafka. I don't know. That's probably just a personal nitpick right there. But I did want to say something. I still absolutely love this arc for Let's Go, obviously. Yeah, Kafka versus General Director Shinomiya, badass fight per usual. Oh man! And he was like, I'm gonna prove you're kaiju. And he was like, I'm gonna prove I'm human. And then they start fighting. We learn that General Shinomiya was, I don't know if he still is, but if nothing else, he was at one point the strongest soldier humanity had. And we definitely get to see that as he's wielding weapons made from Kaiju number 2. Which is, and I really like the part where Kafka was like, he's admitting the presence of a Dai Kaiju. It's like, this dude's a little bit serious right now. Like, at their fight, man, that was cool. It was a cool fight getting to see Kafka, have to essentially transform to survive. He's dying, but then he loses control of it. It's like, yo, dude, let's freaking go, bro. So this is, everything will have, they get their special power, but then they have to work to control it. Kafka was able to control it pretty easily, but it's like, here we have whatever drawbacks. I don't know what started it. Theoretically, being in the presence, essentially, of Kaiju number 2, but we've already seen him fight another named Kaiju. It's Kaiju number 9. And kind of Kaiju number, he just punched it into the atmosphere, as you do. Sent it to EPDB. That's so true. But maybe it was fighting that kind of ancient, or finding someone that strong. Maybe this was the first time Kafka ever almost died. So we get to see him kind of in his little mind. It reminded me of Attack on Titan, where Eren, where we get the perspective like them in there. This seemed to be a different maybe mindscape of Kafka, and it's still his body. But we get to see him and the bug Kaiju that he ate originally in chapter 1 that gave him this power. And that's quite, it was like, what is this thing? It said kill kaiju. So did it activate to kill number 2? Because that was the presence that was coming off of Shinomiya, right? Was the presence of Kaiju number 2. It wasn't Shinomiya's presence. It was that. And we know that a Kaiju's presence can mask a human's, because Kaiju number 8's presence masks Kafka's. So was it activating to kill that Kaiju? And if so, why didn't it activate against Kaiju number 9? I don't know. I mean, Kaiju number 9, how strong is he really? We just don't know. And we get to see that Kaiju number 8, in kind of quote unquote pure form, is insanely strong, and I think almost killed Shinomiya, or at least Shinomiya let it almost kill him. But we get to see Kafka and kind of his internal struggle during this of I can't kill him. I have to get back in control. He's I can't kill him in front of Shinomiya. And just that whole interaction there, and we get to, he figures out he's like he could have killed me immediately. He said he's giving me a chance to live, or I think it's Shinomiya figures that out. That he's giving him a chance, and he does, and he almost dies. But we get to see at the last second Kafka regains control from the will he's got, from remember, nice. Yeah, I eat that stuff for breakfast, he regains his consciousness and stuff, and he's like, he said, I am not Kaiju number 8. And then we get to see Gin just with a gun being like, hey pops. I was about to bag him though. About to bag him. That's so dumb. But yeah, no, and that was the end of that. That was the end of the captured arc. I think in and of itself, but it's just overall, man, that was a good arc. Next, we kind of get to see. Well, first, Kafka, his execution is postponed, and we get to see that Shinomiya is being moved to First Division because a lot of them were, because of Division 3's training grounds were destroyed. So a lot of people are getting moved to different divisions, and Shinomiya specifically is getting moved to First Division. Obviously, Kafka eventually joins. So this is where we get to see more of Gin. We get to see he is a weeb, but he is strong. And I kind of thought they were different people, but I sue me if I'm wrong. I think they're the same person. Like the dude, I just can't remember the dude who was pointing the gun at Kafka at the end of his fight against Shinomiya, General Shinomiya, that is. We get to see Director Shinomiya talking to Kafka, and he's like, first of all, he said, I don't know how human you feel, but you don't have a heart. You have a kaiju core. It's like, oh, and he's like, you're a kaiju. He said you're a kaiju. He said, I don't. And it's like, it doesn't matter what you once were. You're a kaiju now. And that's like, man, like, what was that little thing? And like, what did it want with Kafka? You know, why choose him? Right. That's the big question. Here we get to see he's called to meet with Gin and the director. They're like arguing what they should do with him. They decide to use him as a human weapon, to not use him to make weapons, but to use him, you know. And that's from Shinomiya, and he's going to join the First Division. Gin is like, yeah, no, I'm good. And General Director Shinomiya is like, we need him. He said he could prove very useful. And Jin's whole thing is he's like, I don't care for whatever. I don't care. He said, you need to show me skill. He said, if you can show me skill, we're good. He said, but if you can't, so basically he's saying to Kafka, you have to prove yourself. And then they get their first chance pretty early on, and they get to see that they're heading out on their first mission. Well, this is where, like, after Kafka's reveal, the cast has switched up quite a bit. You know, Mina, Hoshina, and Reno, I don't doubt will come back in the future, most certainly. But for right now, the only two familiars are Kafka and Shinomiya. And now we have Gin and some other people from the First Division. I'm just really looking forward to how everything develops. We have the First Division vice captain, whose name I can't remember. Kind of reminds me of the dude from Class A and Classroom of the Elite. I can't remember. Kitsuragi, I think it's Kitsuragi. But yeah, so I really enjoy that it's kind of like, okay, you know, we've had, you know, the beginning is over, right? We're moving into phase 2 of the story. I can really appreciate that. I have been really enjoying this, and I think that it's a great direction for it to go. And I don't know how other people feel about it, but I personally really like it. And we get to see them. They have their first mission, which is ant kaijus coming out of the ground. It's theorized that there's a big mind controlling them because it's not normal for this to happen. And we get to see Shinomiya. You know, she's doing work. She's doing good. And it's Kafka's turn, and he tries to transform, at least partially or fully, and he can't. And it turns off. And again, this is so weird because, as far as I know, this is the first time he's tried to transform since his fight against General Shinomiya. So it's like, did that have something to do with it? Did him defying that bug kaiju's like will have something to do with the fact that his power is now refusing to come to him? Is that bug kaiju really kaiju number 8? And it's just like inhabiting him. I don't know, because like now we can see that like the power almost has a will of its own, and it's how is he going to get out of this? And then to top things off, underneath him comes up kaiju number 9 riding some of the ants. It's like, that's not very good. And he's like, well, I sense kaiju number 8. He's like, but now he's like, are you kaiju number 8? He's like, Kafka's like, But man, that was cool to see him come up. And then whoops, I accidentally read chapter 43, and we get to see kind of just that there's 2 of them. So there's 2 kaiju number 9s. I think he just split his body. I don't think there's actually 2 kaiju number 9s, but we do get to see that, right? We do get to see that there are 2 of them. They're coming up, and all of the ants they previously defeated are coming back to life, probably strong. I think that happened last time during the training, whatever, the test arc, where they all came back and they were all stronger afterwards. And that's just like, But at the end, we get to see Shinomiya cut one in half, protecting Kafka, and she's like, "Yeah, try me." So there'll probably be a chapter or two of that fight. But overall, man, I absolutely loved this middle part of Kaiju number 8, and I cannot wait to completely catch up. I'm probably tonight, to be completely honest. Well, I have a couple more things to record tonight. One, I'm recording Chainsaw Man, chapter 102. Oh, that was a good chapter. That should have come up this past Wednesday, because I think I'm putting this one up on Friday. And I'm also going to be recording Jujutsu Kaisen Volume 15, which is a phenomenal volume. I love the Shubi arc. Anyways, if you're this far into the video, obviously there's something you like, so be sure to like and subscribe, and maybe go over to my other channel, Goobers and Screens, where I play video games with my friends, and my friend Kyle and I have our Goobers and Screens book club. We're currently going through Hunter x Hunter, and by currently going through, I mean we're completely caught up, and the videos have just started uploading. Next up on my So I've Been Reading will be Kaiju number 8 part 3, and after that will be Dragon Ball part 1, which I am so very excited for. I hope to see you then. Bye-bye.